Have you ever noticed a bird sitting calmly on a power line and felt a strange flicker of worry for it, like it doesn't know what it's sitting on? That wire above its feet is carrying tens of thousands of volts, enough to power a whole street, enough to kill a person in less than a second, and yet the bird just sits there, completely unbothered, sometimes even falling asleep. So here's the question that should be bothering you. If that wire is lethal enough to end a human life instantly, why does it do absolutely nothing to the bird resting on top of it? The answer has nothing to do with feathers, and everything to do with a rule of physics you already use every single day. You just never noticed it standing in your kitchen. Most people assume electricity works like fire. The second you touch it, it burns you. That's why a power line looks so terrifying, just sitting there in silence. But think about a shopping bag sitting on a flat kitchen counter. It's heavy, but it stays exactly where you put it. Now picture the same bag at the top of a staircase. Suddenly it wants to move because gravity is pulling it towards something lower. Electricity behaves the same way. It doesn't attack. It flows. And it only flows when there's a difference between 2 points, a high side and a low side. No difference, no movement. That one idea is the entire answer, and it's been sitting quietly above your head your whole life. Here's the part almost nobody notices. When a bird lands on a wire, both of its feet grip the exact same cable, at the exact same point. Imagine standing on a staircase with one foot on the fourth step, and the other foot also on the fourth step, not the third, not the fifth, the same step twice. There's no drop between your feet. Nothing is pulling you anywhere. That's the bird situation exactly. Both feet sit at identical electrical height. The wire is loaded with charge the entire time, but none of that charge has any reason to leave the cable and pass through the bird's body. To the electricity, the bird simply isn't a route worth taking. Here's the moment that flips everything, and it's the part that actually explains why people get hurt and birds don't. The wire carries tens of thousands of volts. The ground beneath it sits at zero. That gap between the two tens of thousands on one side, nothing on the other, is exactly the kind of slope electricity has been waiting for. A person reaching up and touching that wire while standing on the ground becomes the connection between those 2 points. Their body finishes the circuit the bird never creates. Current doesn't hesitate or choose kindly, it simply takes the fastest path from high to low. And in that moment, a human body standing on solid ground is the fastest path available. The bird never builds that bridge. Its world stays entirely on one wire, at one height, with nowhere lower to fall toward. Here's the part that makes this whole story actually useful, not just interesting. This exact rule is working inside your house right now. Think about a bird sitting in its nest, or a squirrel resting flat against a tree branch. Nothing happens to them. For the same reason nothing happens to the bird on the wire. No difference, no danger. But the moment a storm knocks a power line down onto the street, everything changes. That fallen wire is no longer separated from the ground, it's now touching it directly. And so is anything near it, including you. This is exactly why safety experts always say the same thing about a downed line. Never approach it, and never touch a car or fence that's touching one. Because you could unknowingly become the exact bridge the bird spent its whole life avoiding. Suddenly, that warning you've heard 100 times without really understanding it finally makes sense. It was never just caution. It was physics, the whole time. So the next time you glance up and see a row of birds resting on a wire, you're not looking at luck. And you're not looking at something that defies electricity. You're looking at a rule so simple it's been sitting above our heads for over a century, quietly explaining why some things are safe to touch and why others never will be.